Podcasts appear in YouTube Music. The latest from podnews.net with Podscribe using AI for brand safety. YouTube Music now has podcasts on the website version. If you're in the US or use a US VPN, you'll see a podcasts tab, recommended episodes. You'll find lists of podcasts and episodes. You can add them to your library, and the player has a skip forward and skip back button, which aren't there for music. YouTube Music's web version is usually very similar to the app in UX and feature set, so presumably podcasts through the app are coming very soon. Spotify released its Q1 23 financial report. Podcast revenue grew by nearly 20%, driven, the company says, by original and exclusive podcasts. Here's Daniel Ek.
I think you're right in calling out the overpaying and overinvesting. And what I can start out by saying is we're not going to do that. We're going to be very diligent in how we invest in future content deals. And the ones that aren't performing, obviously, we won't renew. And the ones that are performing, we will obviously look at those on a case-by-case basis on the relative value.
And talking about renewals, Spotify, he says, is in a good place.
Because we are now the largest podcasting platform, that means we should be in a better position should we want to renew a deal.
Worthwhile remembering that Joe Rogan's $200 million deal is up for renewal in the next 6 months. Listeners to radio shows on podcast platforms are older, less well-educated, and significantly more male than listeners to native podcasts made for the medium. That's according to new research from Acast about listening in France. The data says that Apple Podcasts is the #1 app, with Spotify in second place and Deezer at number 3. Echoing data we unveiled from PodTrack in January, the report also says Apple Podcasts delivers almost 3 times the downloads per person than Spotify. Podscribe has launched a new content analysis tool powered by ChatGPT. It uses the existing GARM framework, but is better at understanding sarcasm, they would say that, context, and other factors to avoid unneeded high-risk categorization of content. You can join the waitlist if you'd like to try it. Vespucci has launched a new podcast commissioning fund, which will produce 10 original podcast series over the next 2 years. Shows from Elle Fanning and Love Plus Radio are both in the works. SiriusXM has renewed an agreement with the Oprah Winfrey Network's slate of podcasts. With a month to go, the Podcast Show 2023 in London reports that day passes for the event are almost sold out. The event has announced 350 speakers and 150 sessions across 10 stages. You can use the code PODNEWS to grab yours at a discount. Announcing a new case study, audio ad management company Frequency says that Odyssey is now more than 3 times more efficient with Frequency's tools. Close to the Mic is a new podcast news and reviews website from New Zealand, focusing on podcast stories from New Zealand, Australia and Asia. Creating a platform that brings great content and podcast-related news together in one place will help to build a strong community, says the website's editor Sonia Yee. Scribbler is a free podcast summarizer which works through Telegram. And if you're thinking about podcast movement in Denver, you might have received an email from some random company calling itself Reconfirming Hotel Accommodation, or Rooms Line, offering rubbish deals in awful airport hotels for the event. We checked with podcast movement Stan Franks. It's not from them. Mark it as spam and help others not to see it. And in People News, Tom Dark has launched Dark Side Media, a new music promotion, podcast production and talent management company. He was head of TV promotions and podcasting at Warner Records. And Meera Sharma has been hired as story editor, Meera Kumar as series producer, and Krish Dinesh Kumar as development producer at Vespucci as part of their new podcast commissioning fund. This podcast is sponsored by Podscribe. Wondering if there's a better way we can be doing brand safety? Podscribe thinks so. It now uses ChatGPT to apply GARM labels. You can join the waitlist at podscribe.com/blog. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.